It's the first time I'm standing at such a podium and have to speak into microphones, which means my area of operation is very limited. Normally I go through class up and down and I interact with students, but you are not students, you are distinguished colleagues from other universities, so welcome. I stay here and I do not harm anybody in the audience. So today I want to present you my experiences with international project classes, and as an introduction I just have one slide where I'm coming from. It's the FH Joanneum University of Applied Science in Graz, Austria. That's south of Vienna, so it's actually closer to Timisoara than my hometown Vienna is. And we run a bachelor program. It's called Management Internationaler Geschäftsprozesse. It's in German and English language. Then there's the master program, Business in Emerging Markets. That's what I'm teaching. We also have a global business program. That's for our exchange students from our partner universities. When they come to Austria, we have a special program for them. And we have a master program, European Project Management, Project and Public Management. And we have a transfer center where my colleague Ligia is working. She's sitting here. She's participating and contributing to this Praxis project. And the transfer center does all the research work and earns millions of dollars or euros, whatever, with their work, and supports us teachers. But the testimonial you saw before was the official student testimonial, but since I'm here, I thought I'd exchange it. Yeah, so about the master program. The master program, we have about 30 to 40 students each year in each cohort, and we have a diverse group of students. You can see the origins. Well, almost 3/4 are Austrians, but that's what you perhaps would expect. But the others come from China, Germany, France, UK, Colombia, Croatia, Mexico, Pakistan, Romania, and a few other countries have just joined this 2 weeks ago. I have not incorporated these nationalities in my slide, but this is just to show you where they come from. Also, in terms of educational background, they are from universities, proper universities, I should say. Then they are from universities of applied science, like our institution, and they are from local and also foreign universities, even Austrians who have studied abroad and then returned back to Austria for their master degree. I'm teaching the first semester in the master program. I'm teaching the project class, which is, since last year, is a virtual teamwork where we cooperate with BIMTech in India, in a town close to Delhi. You have it to your left, my colleague Rahul Singh teaching there, his students, and on the right-hand side, this is a shot from the classroom in Austria, where I'm teaching the master students and where they have to cooperate on certain issues, which I'm going to explain a little bit later. I call my presentation Learning Cross-Cultural Teamwork the Hard Way because Nuno asked me not to put the title that I originally suggested in the official program, but the original title was something along the line like, do you remember? Never work with Indians again, or something like that. Or I hate the Indians. It wasn't suitable, he thought, and I agree. So the students really learned it, had a hands-on experience of what it means working with team members who are not physically present, who are on the other side of the globe, in a different time zone, who have different holidays, and who are culturally very remote from their own culture. And they have no possibility to meet them in person. They have to use electronic means. And and still they have to work on a task and deliver a result at the end of the project class, which is before Christmas. The whole thing is based on a research where my colleague Bernadette Frech contributed till, and I have seen that the results have been presented here, and there are some in last conference proceedings. There is also a contribution from Doris Kindl-Wendner, my boss, and Bernadette. So I just want to refresh your memory, so to speak. The project was to develop a model for how to compare the expectations of the labor market with what we do in education, and how well the match is actually between what we try to teach the students and what the labor market requires. And now, instead of explaining what has been done, I just jump to the conclusion, and this is what my students usually do. They always jump to conclusions instead of working. So I learn from them, of course. Yeah, it's a two-way learning process. And the results confirmed that both what we heard yesterday actually is important, the competencies and the business knowledge. And as we also heard from Tony Ward yesterday, we all use different terminology, but we mean the same thing. This is the great thing about academia. You can invent a new word and then suddenly get the Nobel Prize for it. So all the business knowledge and competencies that were found in this project, in this MISLAM project, were actually perceived as valuable. Although to different degrees, and there were some small differences between the individual countries, but it was surprising that not what we would have thought, a competence in knowledge in, let's say, accounting or marketing, which is my field, or I don't know, production management, etc., would be very important. But team leadership or self-management, etc., would be a nice to have. Quite to the contrary, I would say. Both were considered very important. And we heard that yesterday. So what are these competencies that we found, generic competencies that are important? The first one is, of course, creativity. We want students to be creative. And since Einstein already said that it's fine if you hide your sources, I never mention any sources of the pictures here. Of course, they are all stolen. So the next is flexibility. You want to be your students to be flexible and adapt and open to new situations. You want teamwork and relationship building capacities to develop those capacities in your students. And you want to teach them critical analysis, to be critical, analytical, find out where they made mistakes and perhaps rectify those, this behavior. You want to teach them self and time management, because, yeah, if you can't manage yourself, how can you manage others, obviously? You want leadership qualities, to take the responsibility for others and give a direction, but you also want to make sure that the students never lose the bigger picture, because sometimes this is important for survival, I would say. And you want, of course, presentation skills. So hopefully I'm surviving here in this audience. I can't see anyone asleep. And of course, you want communication skills to develop. And my students, for instance, have to write a business proposal in a way like it is required in the real world. So we make sure that they do something in the safe environment of the classroom that they later on will have to do on their jobs, and where they probably don't get an honest feedback. So after this run through, let me introduce you to the project. Until last year, we had done projects, many projects every year even with industry. So real projects where student groups were presented with real tasks that the industrial partners needed to be solved, and they paid for it, by the way. So we have paying customers, and therefore an obligation to deliver quality results. But last year was the first time we cooperated with our partner university in India. And the idea came from the new program, the master program, which is, as I said before, called Business in Emerging Markets. And we thought, well, if you do business in emerging markets, you have to learn the culture, etc., but we have no budget to send the students there. So let's do the project in cooperation with students from there. And fortunately, this program does have partner universities. just for the program. And BIMTech in India was willing, and my colleague Rahul, who is also teaching in Austria, so we have very good contact, was willing to put together a group of students from his cohort and have them cooperate with our students in virtual teams. 4 points about the project class, which will be the second part and the last part of my presentation. Purpose, design, how it worked, and some learnings. So the purpose was clear. We wanted the students to learn business knowledge, like marketing, market research, management, strategy, etc., whatever is required by the individual project. We cannot plan it. It depends on the customer, what the customer wants. So this year, for instance, we are going to do a market research for electrically driven motor scooter in Vietnam. That's a challenge, I would say. Another project, because we have always 2 projects in parallel. The cohort is too big to have all of them work on one project. The other project will be this year a electrically driven vehicle again, but a snowmobile. So this is for the Alp region. And this mobile has been developed at our university, but I'll show you later one little video about it. But also, and this is very important for the students, to learn the competencies that I just mentioned with the funny pictures. So, my intention is not to tell them what to expect, but to put them into the cold water and let them experience all the problems all the way. So the nicest story was when last year, when they did this project with the Indian students, the Austrian students did a project plan and work package planning and who should do what and everything, and it started at the beginning of October. And when November arrived, suddenly the Indian students were not available any longer. What has happened? Well, they got very nervous. Professor, can't you help me? The Indians are not available. Can't you write an email to the professor over there, etc.? And it turned out that there was a festivity in India called Diwali. It's a kind of Christmas for the Indians. And it takes a couple of days, but the Indians are away for 3 weeks because they take it very seriously. The preparation and the after party, I would say. And our students it hadn't even occurred to them to ask their Indian colleagues whether they have holidays or whether there are some time slots where they will not be available. But they learned it the hard way because they had to do the work themselves. I said, we have a customer, we have to deliver the results. If the Indians don't do it, you have to do it, unfortunately. So they were very pissed off, I should say. But that's not a word I would use in public, of course. So we have, as I said, a customer. This is the company over there. We have me as a supervisor who acts as a coach and virtual boss of the company. Then we have teams. Actually, we have 3 teams, but just for illustration, I put 2 teams on here. And last year we had a team leader pair. This year we are going to have the students decide whether they want to have internal leaderships. That was the background of my question yesterday. Or whether they will want to try a democratic process. They will be learning whatever they do. And then we have the ordinary team members, so to speak. And in the beginning we had this, last year we had the team building where pairs of students delivered a proposal to the company after a briefing. And the best proposals were selected, and the authors of the best proposals were nominated to become project managers, team leaders. As I said today, this year it will be slightly different. Then the supervisor, that's me, acts as a CEO, like I said, and the team leaders report to me during the contact hours. So we have about 3-4 hours every week, during which I walk around and have the team leaders report to me. I do not meet the team members so much. I meet more with the team leaders, the project managers. Or that was last year. And it didn't work so well as I expected, but you have that in the learnings. And then at the end, 3 months later, the results are presented to the customer in a presentation, in a PowerPoint presentation, and a report is being handed over. And for the grades, there's also a test in project management and a reflection essay by each individual student, which is peer reviewed by another student. So here are some impressions of the class. This is the briefing of the Indian company, because we have a company from Austria and one from India. This is the Indian company presenting in class, and this is the Austrians watching this presentation on their screen, because we got the videos from India in the quality that you just see, and the audio quality was unfortunately so that nobody understood a word. The audio quality, in combination with the distinguished accent of the Indians, which you have to get used to, rendered the whole video rather useless, I would say. But here you have at least an impression. Also, this, of course, an important learning, I would say. And there is a video from the project briefing in Austria by Siemens. So this is our Austrian customer. This is the guy to the left. He's the manager of this division, and a very nice guy. And there you have, from the same briefing, a few other video shots. You see the people from Siemens sitting here at the side. The tall guy you saw here now, the tall guy, he's the new manager of the Indian plant, and we had to solve a few problems with the Indian plant of Siemens. Cultural problems, economic problems, and organizational problems. So there were 3 different tasks. Then the final presentation is also very, how to say, puristic, I would say. It happens in the classroom. This is screenshots or videos from the final presentation to the Siemens delegates who sit in front here. And there was also scheduled to be a final presentation in India, but it never happened. So, or at least I never received any video. We don't know what happened in India. So that was one of the results of the cooperation, that the students here worked for a project where they didn't know what the outcome was, because everything was delayed, and it sort of added to the frustration. What were the learnings? As I already hinted, the CEO role, my CEO role, was problematic. I realized that it's not good if I walk around and only interact with 2 students from a team of 5 or 6. Although this may be realistic, in the teaching environment, I think it's very important to interact with all of them. So that will be changed this year. I will, if they have team members, managers or project managers, if they decide to do it the democratic way, like we saw yesterday, then this will be a moot point, because we will have to interact with all of them. And another criticism that was voiced was that I brought in too many of my own ideas. So students came to me and asked for help, but instead of hinting and pointing them to the right ways, I sometimes felt that I had to tell them what a good solution would be. Of course, this is bad teaching behavior. So I realized that I should be more careful about, not that I didn't know it, but it happened nevertheless. So I'm more aware of these pitfalls now. But to the question, because there's always an evaluation at the end, what should stay the same in this course? It was 100% positive about the practical side of the work. So they all liked the good partner companies to work with. The working in a team, even in an international team, was seen as very positive. The real project, not as an invented task, and I don't have to tell you all the points, because you're all in this, so you know exactly the benefits of working with projects. What was the answer to how could the course be improved? What could be changed? I think there are some very curious answers in there, and maybe no further work with BIMTech, our partner universities. Like, these are all quotes, by the way. I would choose a different culture that is not so extremely different, like one student suggested Germany, Switzerland, or Austria. I find this an interesting remark, considering that they are in a program business in emerging markets. Okay. If you look through like cultural differences too high, etc., most of the remarks actually revolve around the cultural issue. And this just confirms that it has been a big challenge for the students. And this is exactly what the intention was. Challenge them with the cultural differences, challenge them with tasks, with problems, with situations that they have never experienced before. And then were also some other remarks about the project management. But also here, quite interesting, one remark was project management theory should have presented, lectured in class. And another one said, but also additional workload of reading some theory on project management wasn't necessary at all. Okay, great. What shall we do? So, very positive comments also from the companies. This is from a previous company, but we had similar last year. This is the year before, Mondi paper. We did a project in Russia with them, a very good one. And we're impressed with the ability of the students to digest a lot of information in such a short time and produce tangible results. And even Siemens last year, similar words. And finally, another learning from my side, always expect the unexpected. This is a week ago, briefing on the product, which is an electrically driven snowmobile. The teacher over there, he's my customer in this case. I have an internal customer. He showed the students the battery electric driven snowmobile and offered them a test ride. He was a very nice guy, or he still is a very nice guy. Normally he does it himself, but since all the students are adults and he assumed they all are perfect in riding motorbikes, etc., he let them try out the snowmobile, and you can see what happened. So he explains everything in detail. It's very simple. He points to the instrument panel, and then Vanessa, student from Africa, tries it out. She's very careful. She looks at everything, tries to do her best. And he shows, you have to turn this grip, and then, okay. 2 days later, this snowmobile has to be in Germany because they were nominated for a prize. And fortunately, only one tire. We have in front, we have tires to be able to run on the solid ground, not on snow. One tire went bad, and a small scratch in the paint, but that was it. So we were lucky, and nothing happened to her, of course. This was the most important point. So always expect the unexpected. Thanks a lot, and if you have questions, I'm ready.